you can imagine somebody just shaking really hard a sheet of metal. That's what it sounded like, and it was coming from up here.
You know, down at the creek, and then I noticed the voices sounded like they were coming from the trees or the hills, the hillside on the other side, up in the trees. So I stepped out into a clearing and then went the rest of the way to the edge of the creek. As soon as I stepped out in the clearing, I stopped hearing the voices.
There's lots of rustling outside. My dog's barking, growling.
I heard growling.
Growling?
First night.
Okay, growling.
And then something touching my tent and smelling. So.
A different time he camped at the same campsite, that there was a ring of rocks that appeared the next morning.
Seems like they travel the creek, you know, the edge of the creek.
So we are camping up here at Sullivan Creek. Marshall and I have taken spot number 4 here. Aaron has taken spot number 5. I think he has another person coming. So we have this whole spot to ourselves. We even have our own personal bathroom, which is great. Aaron's got audio way up there on that hillside. I was a little worried about the stream. During the springtime, the snow melt off. The stream is so loud, it really screws up with the audio. But not much snow this year, so the stream's actually not too high and it's pretty quiet, which is not a good sign because we're probably going to have a very dry summer this year. But it's going to be great for recording audio tonight. So right now Marshall's cooking up some steaks. Aaron right now is scouting out an area up the road. He'll be back in about an hour. But yeah, this is where we're going to be for the next 4 to 5 days. So, should be fun. Day 1 of camping up at Sullivan Creek. Marshall's cooking dinner. So this is the first night. Marshall and I have just been hanging out in camp. I kind of like the first nights, just sitting around, getting familiar with the sounds of the woods around you. Did a few knocks. Haven't heard anything. We had some movement through the brush about maybe 45 minutes ago, but it was turned out to be 3 deer moving up the hillside. So I guess the game plan tonight is just to kind of chill out and catch up with each other and sit around the campfire. So more later. Okay, so it is almost 11 p.m. We are calling it a night. We're all pretty tired. So first thing in the morning, the research will begin. Right now we're hoping that a thunderstorm just north of us passes us. The sky is just lighting up like crazy from all the lightning strikes. So hopefully that passes and we don't get too wet. And first thing in the morning we'll start researching and exploring the area. So see you guys in the morning. So last night Marshall heard a tree fall. I was dead to the world, so I didn't hear it, but he said it was pretty loud and it echoed through the whole area. So we see a fresh tree right there, so we're going up to check it out. Most likely it was a natural fall because it did get pretty windy last night. Pretty close to Phoenix.
Yeah, it slid from way up there. Looks like it knocked this tree over. Yeah, that would make a nice solid sound. this?
Yeah.
Knock that tree over.
So obviously this tree fell, rubbed all the way down this one, crashed here, uprooted this one. You see this? You see the damage of the tree. Now the freaky part of this is our camp's right down there. That's too close.
Yeah. You thought it wasn't close.
Looks like we got another tree fall last night.
This might have been the one that made the sound and echoed so loud.
Oh, maybe.
'Cause it sounded solemn.
I guess this would be the dangers of Sullivan Creek in the spring. Aaron has audio up on the hillside, so hopefully he captured the audio of this. So no Bigfoot to report, just Mother Nature at work. So I got out here about 3:30. It was about 3:30 I rolled in.
Yesterday?
Yeah, 3:34. 3:30 or 4 o'clock I rolled in. Hung out in camp. I was going on only 4 hours of sleep that day. So we all turned in about 10:30 or so. And as soon as my head hit the pillow, I was out. And seemed like a very peaceful, quiet night. I slept great. I get up. Marshall greets me in the morning and is like, "Hey, did you hear those sounds last night?" And I'm like, "What sounds?" He's like, "The tree falling over." And I'm like, "What tree fell over?" He's like, "A tree fell over and it echoed through the whole area." I was like, "No, I never heard it." He's camped 25 feet from me. 25 feet. He heard a tree fall. I didn't hear anything. Aaron comes over an hour later when he got up. He's like, "Did you guys hear those sounds?" And I'm like, "What sounds?" He's like, "That strange metallic sound and the wood knocks." And I'm like, "No." He's camped like 50 feet from us. So these guys both heard all this activity last night, and I didn't hear a thing. Not a thing. But of course, Aaron's like I said, 50, 60 feet from us. He never heard the tree fall, and which was odd because we have a tree to the left of, or to the right of us that fell, and then there's a tree just up the road from his camp that fell. He never heard that. But of course, Marshall never heard the wood knocks or the strange metallic sound. But of course, I didn't hear anything. Nothing. So last night we had a pretty good windstorm blow through, knocked over a few trees. One of them just north of our camp is blocking the road, so Aaron and Marshall headed up that way with Aaron's chainsaw. They're going to clear the road, and then they're going to scout down south of us and see if we're blocked in down there. So that's what they're doing right now. I'm maintaining camp, keeping the fire going. Now, last night, Aaron said he heard some odd sounds. He heard like a metallic shaking, a sound of a shaking metal sound, followed by a knock. That was last night. I was dead to the world, so I slept right through all of that. I didn't hear a thing. Marshall heard the tree fall last night, but Aaron didn't hear it. Neither did I. But Aaron was camping up here a day earlier than we were, and he heard the metallic type sound that night, and he heard it again last night. So we're gonna scout out the area and see what could be making that noise. If it's a gated area, you know, roads are blocked off by some of these gates, so we're gonna try to find one of those and see if maybe that's what's making the noise. Not sure. So interesting. Last night before we turned in, I think we turned in close to 11, I heard one single knock off in the distance in the same direction that Aaron heard his sounds. So hopefully it's on audio that Aaron had set up. So I think I found a good location to set up an audio recorder, and we're going to do some scouting around and see what happens. We're going to be out here for a few more days, so should be fun. This right here could explain a lot of the tree falls that you hear in the woods.
Yeah.
I found a little pile of bones. You think a rabbit? Maybe?
For rabbit, I bet it's beaver.
Beaver?
That would make sense.
So we just hiked through some fairly thick stuff along the creek, looking for any kind of indications of anything moving through, because Aaron has heard some odd things coming from this direction. So we thought we'd explore it and see if there's any tracks or anything like that.
The metallic sound, you know, when I say metal, it was just a loud sound, and it reminded me of another time I was with some people and they were shaking a big sheet of metal. It just, I cannot imitate it with my voice. I wish I could, but so not real clangy metallic, just kind of loud, sustained. If you can imagine somebody just shaking really hard a sheet of metal. That's what it sounded like, and it was coming from up here. And actually, at first, I thought there were people also looking for Bigfoot because, or not looking for, you know, doing Bigfoot, whatever, camping. Because the other people I was with, they did that. And they said that it drew them in. And I thought, oh shoot, well there's other people out here. So now, but, you know, we don't know what we hear, what it is, but of course there's nobody over here. So who knows what that sound was.
And what's interesting is we're about, what, a quarter mile from camp, if that?
Yeah.
So Aaron came up to this spot up here to use his chainsaw to cut this tree out of the road. And from camp, I could barely hear the chainsaw. But while they were up here, I heard something yell off. So when they got back, I asked them if, you know, they did any yelling, and they said no. So for him to hear a metallic kind of banging sound near camp, and for me to hear that vocal, which could have been anything, had to be in between this spot and our campsite. So we didn't see anything as we walked through the trees here along the creek, but it could be on the opposite side of the creek, but don't know. So right now we're debating this spot next to the creek here. Has a nice flat area where we could sit in complete darkness and watch this whole hillside with a thermal. Probably do some knocks, see if we can't call something in and capture it on thermal. So that's what we're discussing tonight. But that hillside would be perfect for a thermal camera.